Hey, this is Dylan Wong here, and today I will review 22 Jump Street, sequel to 21 Jump Street. To tell you the truth, I never watched 21 Jump Street, the TV show. I wasn't really too familiar with it, and nobody back in my school even talked about it. But I do, however, like 21 Jump Street, the movie, and it was one of the most funniest movies I ever saw since the first Hangover. It was actually a big surprise too, because not a lot of people expected it to be that good. A lot of people expected it to be a flop, it's going to suck so badly, and it's not going to do anything. But it had something. It made a lot of money at the box office and received good reviews by critics and audiences alike. It was also considered to be one of the greatest movies based on the TV shows ever made. So I was very excited to see the sequel because the end of the first film has left open for it. Now that I finally went to see this film, what do I think of the film? I think this film is great! It's one of the most fun comedy sequel I ever saw. Now I'm going to tell you why I enjoy this film. Let's move on with the story. The story of this film was like the first film, but only this time they're going to college. After two undercover cops successfully arrested the drug dealers in high school, their boss announced that their next mission is to go undercover in college and arrest the next drug dealers. However, the Koreans had brought back their church in 21 Jump Street, and they later moved into an empty Vietnamese church in 22 Jump Street. The two undercover cops later went to college and shared the same room together. They decided to investigate the drugs called Y5, which killed one of the students in college, and they want to know who has been selling them the whole time. Of course, like the first film, there's a twist. Although it's not the greatest story ever told, but I think it was fine. At least it does not repeat whatever they did in the first film. Now for the action scene, the jokes. The action scene in this film was awesome. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but the chase scenes, the fight scenes, and the gun shooting scenes are pretty well done. Plus I think they do it in a funny way. As for the joke of this film was hilarious. I actually liked the jokes in this film more than the jokes in the first film. Well, the good news is that the trailer of this film does not give any of the jokes away. Now for the acting and directing. Let's start with two main characters, the two undercover cops, Morton played by Jonah Hill and Greg played by Channing Tatum, who played Duke in the two live-action G.I. Joe films, and he will be playing Gambit in X-Men Apocalypse. Both I think did a great job for playing those characters, as they did in the first film. They're funny, action-packed, and they're good at going undercover. Well, at least Channing Tatum is starting to know how to act. I also find it hilarious that both Jonah and Channing work with each other again in the Lego movie, where they voiced Green Lantern and Superman respectively. Then there's their police boss, Captain Dixon, played by my favorite rapper, Ice Cube. He was hilarious like in the first film. His portrayal of his character may be bossy, but he was cool, smart, and tough. Also, he becomes one of my favorite characters of the film. We're now introduced to new characters like Maya, played by Amber Stevens, Zook, played by White Russell, who was the son of Kurt Russell, Mercedes, played by Jillian Bell, and the villain, played by Peter Stormare, who was from Fargo, The Lost World Jurassic Park, Armageddon, The Big Lebowski, and Minority Report. While in my opinion, both Amber Stevens and White Russell did fine, Jillian Bell did okay, but Peter Stormare I think was pretty funny playing the villain. For other villains, I won't tell you who they are, but they're funnier than the villains in the first film. Dave Franco and Rob Riggle, which they have played the villains in the first film, only made a cameo appearance in this film. Speaking of cameo appearances, I'm not going to tell you who they are, but it was funny to see them. Now for the directors, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who directed the first 21 Jump Street film and recently directed the Lego movie. Both actually did a good job directing this film. just like they did with the first. They sure know how to make funny and entertaining films. Overall, I really enjoyed 22 Jump Street as I did with 21 Jump Street. Oh, so far, Jonah Hill has been in 3 movies this year, and those are the Lego Movie, How to Train Your Dragon 2, and this film. Wow, pretty good year for Jonah Hill. Anyway, I had a good time watching this film. However, this is a kind of movie I highly don't recommend for kids because it's too violent, had too much bad words, adult content, and drug use. So I definitely give this movie a 4 out of 5 nuclear bombs. If you're a fan of the TV series, comedy films, and buddy cop films, you should go see it. Be sure to stay after the credits scene. I won't tell you what happens, but it was really funny.